If you're looking to decorate your home this Halloween with some spectacularly stylish decor pieces, but on a budget, I got some DIYs I think you're gonna like. Decorating your home for Halloween doesn't mean having to decorate your home with tacky decor. If you're wanting to decorate your home this Halloween, but with some stylish decor, don't get me wrong, the plastic rat has its place. But if you're looking to elevate your decor this Halloween, with just a few tweaks, you can take inexpensive Halloween decor and elevate it into stylish high-end decor you're gonna want to decorate your home with. Time to get our DIY on.
For this first Halloween DIY, you're just going to need a hanging basket from Dollar Tree, some old newspaper that you're going to crumple up into small little balls and tuck into the bottom of the basket, and then cover that with one piece of newspaper. This will be the foundation for your arrangement. The dollar store has these bags of moss. You're going to want the one that's sort of the combined one that looks like this. Okay, now I decided to use an old project. It was a moss bowl that I made for my blog last year, and I decided to reuse that moss because it was glued onto the newspaper, but you can just glue your moss straight onto the newspaper that we added to the base of the hanging basket. Start with the bright fluffy green moss as the bottom layer, and then layer on top of that the more spooky looking moss. You want to grab a few bunches of inexpensive Dollar Tree full florals in dark purple and navy blues and clip those down. I decided to go with flowers that sort of had this spooky kind of Halloween haunted feeling to them that also coordinated. The black roses had some purple edging on it. Likewise, so did the navy blue flowers, and then the cluster of purple flowers. Dollar Tree has these fabulous velvety skeleton heads, and I went with the black one. Just going to want to use a pair of scissors to poke a hole into the bottom middle of the skeleton, and then take one of those stems from your black roses that you cut down and shove that stick in the hole. This will give you a way to prop the skeleton head up inside of the bottom of the hanging basket. Center the skull in the middle of the basket, and then using those spooky faux florals, just add them in and around your hanging basket, arranging them in any way that is, visually appealing to you. Okay, to give this hanging basket just a little added spooky flair, I decided to hot glue some of the individual flowers to the bottom of the basket to make it look like the flowers were sort of growing out of the hanging basket. I also used the hot glue to adhere some of that extra textural moss to the bottom of the hanging basket. And there you have Halloween DIY 1. For this next inexpensive Halloween DIY, you're just going to need a plastic skull. Now, I got mine from Dollarama, but I did find these ones at Dollar Tree. I personally like the white color a little bit more, but there's no reason why these wouldn't work just as well. I need one of Dollar Tree's black candle stands. To adhere the skeleton head to the pedestal, you're going to need some E6000, and you're also going to want to use a little bit of hot glue for that instant hold. I want to put this glue on the chin of the skeleton and flip that bony skeleton around and adhere it to the top of the candle pedestal stand. I found these beautiful mauve faux zinnias at Dollarama that were just stunning, but really any gorgeous faux flower will do. Basically, you just want to pop off their heads. Take a pair of scissors or some clippers and just cut off whatever remaining stem is left attached to the flower. Using your hot glue gun, apply a generous dollop of hot glue to the bottom end of the flower and then arrange them on top of your skeleton's head. There you have yourself a très chic skeleton for this Halloween. Tell me, what do you guys think? Isn't she a beaut? Okay, for this next DIY, you're going to need a bunch of pink and white flowers and one of Dollar Tree's pumpkin wreath forms. Then I went in with some copper spray paint, gives it that pumpkin feel, but really you could spray paint this any color you want or just leave it the green. Once your wreath form has had a chance to dry, collect those beautiful flowers and then start to pop off the stem. Using a pair of scissors or wire clippers, clip off the little knobby part at the end because you want these flower heads to be able to lay down flat. I went in with Gorilla Glue because it's extra strong and I'm only going to be using that to adhere these flowers to the frame. With your hot glue, give each flower backing a really generous dollop of hot glue to adhere it to the wire frame, and then flip the pumpkin over and go in again with more hot glue in the back to really adhere it to that frame. You can arrange these flowers any way that you want. I found it helpful to pre-arrange them so I kind of got a good idea of where I wanted the placement to be. Decided to arrange them so that they were fuller on the left side of the pumpkin, and I started at the top making it thinner, and then as I worked my way down the pumpkin it became fuller, and I started to glue them further up the wire frame, and then as it worked its way to the right hand side I again sort of tapered that off so that it became thinner near the end. Now, no pumpkin is complete without a few leaves, and I happen to have some ivy leaves on hand, but really any leaf that you like would do. And just using some hot glue, I attached a bit at each end of the arrangement and then tucked in a few in between the blooms. Okay, for that finishing touch, I decided that it would probably look best if we added a little bit of twine to the stem of the pumpkin. So using your hot glue gun, just apply a little dab of hot glue and then follow the line of the bottom of the stem, the part that attaches to the pumpkin, and then just keep working your way up, adding a little bit of hot glue and then pushing that twine down so that it doesn't leave any gaps. I think you can see what I mean here. And then you just want to keep doing that, working its way to the top. I personally find it easier to use a hot glue gun that has a very fine tip for a clean look. For a finishing touch, I hot glued a little rosebud to the top of the pumpkin, and there you go, she's done. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And for our final Halloween DIY, we are going to make ourselves some twine pumpkins. You're going to need to pick up 3 of Dollar Tree's tinsel pumpkins, and you're going to want to start by just unraveling that tinsel from the pumpkin frame. Now the frame doesn't really stick together, so just using a little bit of hot glue at the tippity top there, that it'll stay together. And then using your hot glue gun again, just adhere the twine to the top and start working your way down the pumpkin. You're just going to want to add little dollops of hot glue. Again, I would recommend using a glue gun with a really fine point, and then any raised surface areas, add a little dab of glue. Basically, anywhere that there's surface area, you're going to want to apply a little bit of hot glue to adhere that twine, because there'll be lots of areas where there's just a gaping space. You're going to want your twine to be as close together as possible. You're not going to want any gapes because you're not going to want to be able to see that orange, browny kind of pumpkin color underneath show through. You want it to be completely covered by the twine from top to bottom, and you want to make sure that you're covering those raised knobby bits with the twine. And then once you have your entire pumpkin covered, you're going to want to take a lighter and just light those little strands on fire. They're giving it an aged rustic look. Grabbing any fabric, I went with a decorative burlap roll that I like to use in a lot of my DIYs, and I cut out leaf shapes for the top of the pumpkin and then just adhere those with a little dollop of hot glue. I put 2 on each, and then using some Canva pumpkin faces, I used my Cricut to cut out the faces on some black cardstock, and then again using a little bit of hot glue, I just added that cardstock facial images to the front of each of the pumpkins. You could totally freestyle cut out these faces, but I am not the best at cutting, so I decided to let the expert Cricut do the job for me because it would ended up a hot mess. To apply the different parts of the face, I found it easier to start with the nose and then put on the eyes and then lastly the mouth. For a pretty finishing touch, I gave each of the pumpkins a single bloom to their stem, either in pink or white. And there you have it, 3 pretty little pumpkins ready for Halloween.
Well, that's it for today's high-end Halloween fall DIYs. If you enjoyed those, make sure you subscribe, give me a thumbs up. If you hit the notification bell, it'll let you know the next time I upload. Oh, and you might enjoy these.